Bida is about 100 kilometers from Minna, the Niger state capital. The town makes history as one of the ancient cities in Nigeria. Bida town is also lucky to host an airstrip, built as far back as 1847, but now serves as a substation to the Minna airport and currently managed by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency.
There are two categories of airstrips. We have those that are government-owned, and then we also have privately owned airstrips. The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has the responsibility of providing air navigation services at all aerodromes. However, there are airstrips that are strategically provided by the Federal Ministry of Aviation and that are provided for strategic reasons, could be for security, could be for emergency. They may not necessarily be manned, but we may have facilities there where an aircraft that might need to operate there, if it becomes necessary, can operate there without any problem. So there are airstrips where we have navigational facilities there. Maybe because of the irregular rate of operation into them, they may not be manned by air traffic controllers, but managed by the agency in terms of navigational facilities and other systems required.
While NAMA is active at the Bida aerodrome, there are obsolete structures that show obvious neglect, like this aircraft hangar made of zinc, which grass has taken over. There's also an old fuel station where nothing happens. The Bida aerodrome has a runway of 1.2 kilometers and is made of asphalt. The airstrip receives flights from time to time with the aid of an en route navigational aid station that has a very high frequency omnidirectional radio range with a functional distance measuring equipment in place.
If an aerodrome or an airstrip owner wants us to provide air traffic services as well as maintenance of their navigational facilities or communication facilities, we also do that. But the agency, knowing her responsibility in terms of safety, most times the agreement or the MOU signed by these airstrip owners or aerodrome owners, in most cases is for the provision of air traffic services. But you cannot provide air traffic services without the supporting services. So in most cases, the agency, at her own cost, in support of safety, provide other supporting services to ensure that we have a safe, effective and efficient operation in and out of such facilities. So it is not uncommon to find the full complement of a NAMA staffing at such facilities, such as Aeronautical Information Service Officers, air traffic safety engineers, air traffic communicators, or commercial officers of NAMA, or an airspace manager appointed by NAMA to also manage their activities at that airstrip.
Authorities around here, however, lament that the airstrip is under the threat of encroachment by locals, a situation made worse by the absence of a perimeter fence around the airstrip, making it easy for trespassers. Many believe that the country has a large number of infrastructure lying fallow and most times neglected, and just a little attention could perhaps make them more economically viable. Indonesian investigators have criticized the design of the anti-stall system known as MCAS, which automatically pushed the plane's nose down, leaving pilots fighting for control in its final report into the October 29, 2018 Lion Air crash that killed all 189 people on board. The report also said deficiencies in the flight crew's communication and manual control of the aircraft contributed to the crash, as did alerts and distractions in the cockpit. The accident was caused by a complex chain of events. That's what Indonesian air accident investigator Nokayo Utomo told reporters at a news conference, repeatedly declining to be drawn on providing a single dominant cause.
The MCAS design, which was rely on a single sensor, make it vulnerable for the error nose, since one AOA may affect to the whole systems. One AOA sensor may affect to the whole system that vulnerable to damage or to error to this sensor. The sixth contributing factor was the replacement of the AOA sensor that was replaced or installed in the aircraft was miscalibrated during the repair.
The fatal crash, followed less than 5 months by another at Ethiopian Airlines, led to a global grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX and a crisis for the world's biggest plane maker, leading to the recent ousting of its commercial airplanes chief.
The investigation could not determine whether the installation test was performed correctly because we do not have the evidence to show that the installation test was performed correctly. However, the installation test supposed to able to detect the miscalibrated. However, the miscalibrated was not detected, but we could not determine whether the installation test was successful or not.
With the accident report presented publicly, next of kin of victims killed in the Lion Air JT610 crash said they were not satisfied with explanation by Indonesian investigators.
Cuman apa itu hasilnya sudah.
The result is out. What happened has happened. We just accept. But whether I'm satisfied with the report? No, I'm not satisfied because it feels like they are bullying common people like us who don't understand. But at least we know sanctions should be applied to the relevant parties by KNKT, that's the National Transportation Safety Committee. They must be aware that the tragedy happened because of their mistakes.
Sanksi-sanksi apa yang diberikan pihak-pihak yang terlibat di situ?
Meanwhile, the chief executive officer of Boeing, Dennis Muilenburg, has been pressed by U.S. lawmakers at a hearing over what the company knew about its MCAS store prevention system linked to 2 deadly crashes and about delays in turning over internal 2016 messages that described erratic behavior of the software in a simulator.
Boeing has not told the whole truth to this committee and to the families and to the people looking at this. Yes, the pilots did exactly what they were supposed to do, but 5 seconds later, especially if that sensor is still stuck, it overrides what the pilot does and it pushes the nose right back down again. 3 seconds, a pilot's best friend is time and altitude. And on takeoff, there is no altitude, and he's got no time.
Taking turns to grill Muilenburg during his first appearance at a hearing on Capitol Hill, senators suggested Boeing had not been completely honest and expressed dismay that the 2016 instant messages did not prompt an immediate reaction from the company.
I lied to the regulators unknowingly. Gustafson, it wasn't a lie.
Later in the hearing, Senator John Tester of Montana implied he would never get on a 737 MAX.
The truth is you can say that they have the ultimate responsibility. I would walk before I was to get on a 737 MAX. I would walk. There's no way. And the question becomes, when issues like this happen, it costs your company huge. And so you shouldn't be cutting corners, and I see corners being cut.
The hearing, the highest profile congressional scrutiny of commercial aviation safety in years, heaps pressure on a newly rejigged Boeing senior management team fighting to repair trust with airline customers as well as passengers who are shaken by an 8-month-old safety ban on a 737 MAX following the crashes, which killed 346 people.
Muilenburg, so thank you. And if the timekeeper could start.
That's our program this week. See you next week, God's willing. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.